wife's ex made our early years hell. I finally got fed up and did something. Thanks to everyone for all the support on the last post, but recently it got me thinking. Holy hell do I have a lot of EP stories from my wife's side of the family. So because of the beginnings of this horrid epic aren't mine to tell, I'll give a brief overview. Wife's exes, D for D-bag plans, for when they got married. Number 1. My wife would not be allowed to dress like a regular person. Old school, full-body dresses, only like your Aunt Lucille. 2. Church was mandatory. Wife was raised Catholic but finds more self-fulfillment in Wicca and paganism. 3. If it was found out later in his life that my son was gay, the gay would be beaten out of him. A few other things along this same vein of logic, too many for this post to still be readable. For obvious reasons, my wife smartly ended the relationship before any serious commitment, but there was a tricky caveat. For my son's sake, he was told his entire life up to that point that D was his father, as his biological father dipped as soon as he found out that my wife was pregnant. My son took it like a champ when my wife and I finally told him the truth, and despite the facts of why I detest this guy with every fiber of my being, which I'll get to here in a minute, we told my boy that it was his choice if he still wanted to call D Dad. He would use this to his scurrilous advantage to no end, buying custom Jordans with my son's name and Dad stitched into the heels for his birthday, for example. While my son still lived in the house, D would also, in their prior relationship and in my marriage to my wife, go behind her back and report anything he deemed as amoral or sordid to her parents because they held the same standards as him, getting her in huge trouble for just trying to live her life outside of their structures. This guy is a spineless coward, and I've only scared my wife with my anger a few times in our relationship. Most of those times were because of him. There's regular loud anger, and there's quiet, radiating anger. For the first year of my marriage, this dickweed called up my wife on the regular, demanding to talk to his kids. If they were unavailable, or if we just didn't want to deal with him, he'd call our parents and say we were denying him access to his kids. My wife says that people like D are what's known as play daddies, i.e. only really take on the dad role when there are brownie points to be earned with the kids, or there's good publicity. A few times when we've gone to visit her parents, suddenly a wild D appeared, and we couldn't run. Christmas, summer break, you name it, he showed up asking for a day out with our kids. Finally, after the third time, he made my wife cry with his bullcrap. I'd had enough. This man had made the woman I was building a future with weep with impotent fury, and that made him my enemy. The next time he called, he once again had my wife in a state of emotional duress. I held out my hand and said that in a quiet, angry tone, "Babe, give me the phone." I then took the phone out to the back porch and gave him a piece of my mind. It went a little something like this. D. Hello? Me. Listen here, you gutless swine. I've had enough of your bullcrap polluting my relationship. This woman, these children, are mine now. The fact that we are even speaking right now shows in spades how magnanimous my wife, putting emphasis on how he has no ties here, is. So, here's what's going to happen. You're going to stop with your bullcrap. You want to play at being daddy? Fine. Then start paying child support for these kids you want to claim so frickin' badly. If not, then screw off. This game you're trying to play is pay to play. Without the money, you have no ties to these kids, and so help me God, if this keeps up, you better pray I not find you. So fish or cut bait, mother trucker. Choice is yours. D. So, can I talk to my kids? I kid you not, Reddit, I saw red. I had to hang up immediately before I broke my wife's phone. The sheer audacity and the ego of this, as we called it in the core, colossal window-licking screwtard. And, of course, her parents took his side on all of this. Not long after, we got a call from them asking how she could let me talk to the man who'd done so much to help her raise those kids before I showed up. In no uncertain terms, my wife and I explained that I'm not going anywhere. He's not their dad. They need to remove their heads out of their backsides, or I'd present a similar deal as I'd given D. The next time I saw D in person, because of course her parents invited him to a family gathering, he was glaring at me most of the time. I'm a head taller and twice abreast of him. All I do is give him a look that says, "Try me. I will bury you." Oh, and let's not forget that he's got a new woman that he so proudly brought with him when we visited for Christmas a few years ago. My infant daughter was only 6 months old at the time, and the lady asked if she could hold her. We didn't know her like that, and she's got affiliation with D, so we said that we wouldn't be comfortable with it. He's called to bother my wife a few times asking if our son would be willing to be the best man at his wedding. My wife gave a very non-committal, that's his choice, and only if we have the means to, since he's 17. I tell you, I have dealt with those kinds of parents more often than not. My sister has an ex who's like that. My stepbrother's mother is very much like that. It's not exactly a wonderful time, especially for the kid. I mean, the kid is the one who has the worst time of it. Bear in mind, it's always going to be them who suffers the most as a result of these sorts of types of toxicity. So I hope for the best, but that stuff is somewhat permanent. I'm happy that the kid's 17, though. Chances are good he's going to be able to break free of that sort of thing sooner rather than later. Coworker's annoyed I didn't work more hours so that she could sit on her butt all day. So, now we're at a restaurant of a retirement home. As we no longer have a kitchen on site, we reheat the food that's delivered by a big kitchen that cooks for multiple establishments. And as my N+1 is on sick leave, I'm the one in charge. Last Friday, work was kind of hectic. A lot more people than usual were coming to eat, a lot of staff who had either called in sick or taken a day off. At one point, I had to call the kitchen because they had forgotten some meals for the Sunday. This will be important later. Anyway, I spent the day doing everything in a hurry because I was alone doing 2 people's work, and my front room co-workers couldn't give me a hand like they would usually do because they were understaffed as well. My shift ends at 2 p.m., but 4 p.m. rolls around and I'm still busy cleaning up when the remainder of the Sunday delivery arrives in the person of my ex-favorite co-worker who now works there. I stored it and we ended up chatting for some hours because we hadn't seen each other in a while, before he left and I wrap up. Now, the restaurant is closed on Sundays, and meals are delivered in doggy bags that I usually pack on Fridays because when everyone's working, I have the time to do it, even though on Saturdays, few people come to the restaurant. There are none of the smaller tasks that take up a lot of our time during the week, and whoever is in charge of the back room this day usually has time to sit and relax. Monday, the person who was backroom Saturday complained to me that she couldn't rest because she had to pack Sunday's doggy bags, and I was like, yeah, sorry, Friday was a never-ending rush and I didn't have time for it. She repeated it 1 or 2 times during the day, but I honestly didn't think much of it because I honestly didn't feel bad about it and didn't really think it was a me problem. But then yesterday I learned by my other coworker who worked front room that Saturday that she had spent the week dissing me behind my back and telling everyone that if she can leave at 6 because she's chatting with Ricky, she can leave at 6:30 to pack the doggy bags. They were still able to leave 1 hour early that day. Note, that's not his real name. Honestly, this is a story that a lot of people could probably relate to on a lot of different levels. I mean, the fact of the matter is, everybody who's worked at a place that has multiple shifts can deal with the fact that there's going to be a shift that happens previous to yours that is going to end up giving you extra work that you're not prepared for, and almost always you're immediately tempted to blame that shift for being lazy and not doing their jobs and all those sorts of things. And it's just, I think this is just a lack of perspective, lack of understanding. You're not there, you don't know what happened, you're not in that person's shoes. So you end up blaming them, even though it's something that's entirely understandable. I think better communication is really the key here. I'm not entirely certain this is an entitled coworker thing or more just, oh, you gave me more work than I expected. Aren't you such a piece of crap? Which I feel like most workers have dealt with to one degree or another. This is surprisingly normal as far as I'm concerned. But I don't know. I don't particularly blame anyone in this situation. This is just a result of a lack of ability to perceive other people's experiences. But what do you guys think? Is this is it entitled to say, you gave me more work than I expected, and that's annoying, and you should endeavor to not do that in the future, even if it means you have to work harder? I think that's the entitled bit. After understanding the situation, yeah. What do you guys think about that? My entitled SIL. Me, 32 female, is married to a wonderful man, 38 male. He has a sister, 35 and female, that is very entitled. Let me explain. She, let's call her Lisa, got her teeth fixed and lost weight. I tried being nice and congratulating her on her feats. She immediately stopped talking to us and her older brother. She only talks to the other sister. She thinks she is TikTok famous because she posted a few vids that had a few 1,000 likes. She even tries to get brand deals for free, but of course has failed. A month ago, she announced that her and her husband are going to see his family in Mexico. This is the first time she spoke to me in like 2 months. There is always a reason for her to talk to me, and it's usually favors. I asked her, how long are you and the boys going to be gone? Her sons are 16 and 14 and 12. Oh, they're not going. It's just me and Jose. I knew right off the bat that she's looking for a babysitter. Husband and I just live in a 1-bedroom apartment. We cannot have 3 teenagers here. I immediately said. Oh, come on, you love the boys, Lisa said. How much are you going to pay me? There's total silence. Too quiet. Your family, I'm paying y'all. I rolled my eyes and said no. She went on a rant about being family and family doesn't pay. Husband said that his mom gets their sister and brother to pay for babysitting. She's no different. We want to be paid. She ranted again that she doesn't deserve the same treatment as them. She is special. I asked her how. She said, because I am beautiful and confident. I get what I want. I laughed so hard. Husband just stared at her. After laughing my lungs out, MIL came in. I'll go to your house and watch them. I gasped and reminded MIL that Lisa is not paying for babysitting. She shrugged her shoulders and said whatever. I hit my mark. My face is red now. I let out something in me that no one had ever seen before. So you're letting this entitled witch have her way. Fine, let her have her way. And I stormed off to my room. MIL or Lisa has not spoken to me since. They've been gone for 2 weeks now. Husband said I went overboard on calling her an entitled witch. Deep down, I think I did go too far, but I just had enough of her thinking everything will go her way. The way in which she's asking for favors is absolutely nonsensical as far as I'm concerned. True. This belief that you're some sort of social media star and that you're young and you're beautiful. And I mean, how young can you be? You have 3 kids, 16, 14, and 12. I don't know. Maybe she just thinks she looks really good, but that's not going to pay your way through life. I mean, maybe your husband will take care of you or something, but that's not really how it works. Your family does not really care how hot you are. As it turns out, that doesn't actually matter. But what do you guys think? Would you babysit for your sister-in-law, knowing full well that you're not going to get anything out of it, and it's probably going to be an incredible inconvenience for you? Defeating a Karen with chemical warfare. I didn't want to post this on here because it's quite embarrassing to me, but after telling my friends at work, they said I should post it as it was funny, and if one person likes it, they would buy me lunch for 1 day. So, here it is. Also, my apologies for my grammar. Writing was never my best in school. So, to start this off, today when I got up, I had gas. Yes, this is the embarrassing part. I don't know what I ate or what happened, but for most of the day I was farting almost nonstop. Sometimes it's quick, and others where I have to take a moment to let it out for a few seconds. Thankfully, at my work, the noise from the machines covered my embarrassment. During my break, I was able to go to the bathroom, and after, it slowed down. But it still happened once in a while. After work, I stopped at a grocery store to pick up some food to eat. Now, this place is located in an area that is mostly retired and elderly people, so even though the mask mandates are being loosened, the store still keeps it going so as not to endanger these people. The encounter with Karen happened at the checkout. While I was in line to check out, Karen got in line behind me about 2 feet from me. Old man. Excuse me, miss, but the 6 feet apart rule is still required here. Karen. Oh, don't be like that. Those stupid rules are being lifted, so don't give me that crap. Old man, who was in the next lane. Miss, there are still people that are immunocompromised who shop here, and the store keeps those rules going for that. Karen. Who cares? I'm not bothering anybody, and this man here doesn't mind, referring to me. Now, knowing this woman is going to be trouble if I say anything and only going to escalate problems, I did the only thing that would get this Karen away. While I was standing in line, I could feel my gas building up and I was trying to keep it in. But now was the time I knew I could get away with it and not have people look at me weird. I pushed my cart forward and my ass back and released a 5-second long fart right in front of Karen, who wasn't wearing a mask, I might add. Karen, in a long screech and backing away more than 6 feet. Oh my god! Old man and other people who were in line behind him began to laugh their butts off. Me, while I was grabbing a magazine and fanning in the direction behind me, better let it out than holding it in, I say. Karen, ah! As she runs to another lane, people were still laughing while she ran. While I was getting checked out, the employee told me that she was a problem customer and had multiple complaints. The manager knows her well and is generally done with her crap. After I paid and began walking to the exit, Karen came walking with the manager in tow. Karen, that's him. That's the guy who assaulted me. Manager, excuse me, but could you tell me what's going on? Me. She wasn't following the 6 feet apart rule and causing a scene when the old man over there, so I farted in her face. Manager, with a little laugh as he spoke. Okay, that's a good one. Karen, aren't you going to do anything? He needs to be kicked out. Manager, Karen, her real name, by the way, you've been a problem customer for almost a year now. I am more inclined to believe the other party rather than you. You know that we keep a 6 feet rule and a mask rule for the elderly, and you keep breaking them on a daily basis. I'm pretty sure you had it coming. You're lucky I haven't banned you from the store yet, so just go back to your shopping or this will be your last time entering the store. Karen, I don't believe this. You always chose to never listen to me. Manager, because you caused trouble and you're a pain in the butt. Karen, this is it. I'm calling corporate and getting you fired. Manager, you said that the last 5 times, and they tell you the same thing, to stop wasting their time. Karen, you really know how to tick me off. Manager, okay, Karen, get out. I've had enough of you for today. Karen then starts to walk off and is about to shout something else before the old man says, loud enough for everyone to hear, hey, don't forget to blow her a kiss goodbye. Karen, knowing what he meant, screams as she runs out of the store with everyone laughing as she leaves. Manager, okay, she's gone. You're doing okay, sir. Me, oh, yeah, I'm fine. Just glad she's gone. Manager, she's been a pain right as she moved in here last May. She thinks she runs the place. Me, well, Karen has to face the toll sooner or later. Can I go now? Manager, sure, have a nice day. I leave and head home laughing all the way while driving. So, that's my embarrassing story to share. Hopefully, I won't get roasted in the comments. There's a lot of videos out there of Karens having a hard time dealing with stores with their rules, trying to protect people and such, and people dealing with it by yelling and cursing and having an argument and things like that. I think a good solid 5-second fart definitely is a really good way of dealing with it, because what are they going to do? You can't rebut a fart. I think is the main takeaway here. I don't know. I don't think that there's anything that was wrong that happened here, at least as far as the OP is concerned. But what do you guys think?